Welcome to Rangers Reactions for Game 50, Rangers vs. Devils. First thing, Rangers win. We beat the Devils. Beat them 4-3. It's a great game. A lot of fun to watch, really back and forth. And the Rangers came back from being down 2-0 early, powered by a hat trick, my first Rangers hat trick by ZIBAN3JAD. And the Rangers beat the Devils 4-3, and it was a great game to watch. Really back and forth play, and yeah, it was just a great game all around. So first things, some basic stuff. Buchnevich is back in the lineup, and I thought he played well. I thought he had a really good game. Zuccarello was also back and had a great game as well, back from an injury-infected foot, as well as Hayes was back from his injury as well. So all three of those guys back in the lineup. D'Angelo's the one who comes getting scratched, which someone has to. I would rather see Brendan Smith out, who didn't play terribly, though. None of the defense played terribly last game, so it's a tough move on taking one of them out. Quinn doesn't seem to really like D'Angelo. He seems to always be in the doghouse with him, but I do like D'Angelo's play. As a person, heard he's kind of a shitty person, but just on play, he's not bad. So Lundqvist is in net for the Rangers. Kincaid is in for the Devils. 6 degrees of ice hockey to knowledge. And me, funny enough, Keith Kincaid and I went to the same college, which is Union College in Schenectady, New York. So yeah, there's a little piece of fun trivia about me. I don't know why that'd be fun. Anyways, let's get to the game. So first off, early in the first, Rangers go on the power play. Coleman gets a penalty for tripping, and this is like a minute in, Rangers on the power play. But the Devils, who surprisingly enough have the second-ranked power play. I was like, really? They're one of the teams that is dead last, but they've got the second-ranked power play in the league, which I was surprised. Apparently, that's the only thing that's gone right for them. They kill it off, and the Rangers get no shots on goal because the Rangers power play is not that great. Right after that, they get out of the box, and Lundqvist comes to make a big save on Pavel Zacha, which is a really fun name to say, Pavel Zacha. And the rebound gets to Pionk, who turns it over and is then put in by Nico Hischier. And the Devils are up 1-0. Pionk's great in the offensive zone, but he just turns the puck over so much. And that was a really bad one. He had time, but he gets pressured, turns the puck over, and if you give the puck over to Nico Hischier, he's going to score. He's a great player. He was first overall for a reason. So it's early, and the Devils are up 1-0. The Rangers, halfway through the first period, just can't get anything going. They only have one shot. Then Brendan Smith gets a penalty for tripping. The Rangers kill it off. Lundqvist makes a big save, and they don't score on it. So it was a good first PK. Later, Fast gets a penalty for tripping. So the Rangers are back on the PK twice. They're already down 1-0. So it's not great. The Devils end up scoring on this power play to make it 2-0 on a shot. He gets tipped by former Ranger Brian Boyle, who I did like as a Ranger. He had a weird time as a Ranger. He had one 20-goal season. Everyone thought that's what he was going to be, but then, was kind of stated as like a fourth liner. Was that in Tampa and Toronto, but it seems to be playing a bigger role in the Devils and kind of been thriving there. It's sort of a leadership role at the Devils and is doing well, and it's good to see him doing well. He had a cancer diagnosis, seems to have fought that, and I think there's some health issues with his son, so I'm glad to see he's playing well and hopefully doing well as well. Back to it. He deflects a puck that hits off the post and goes back Lundqvist, and it's just sitting there. No one knows where it is except for Marcus Johansson, who just beats the Ranger to the puck, dives and pokes it in the empty net to make it 2-0. And with a minute left, the Rangers get a great chance. And one of the Devils, he's new. I hadn't heard of him before this. Yakolev? I think that's how you pronounce it. He gets his blade knocked out during play, the blade of his skate, so he can't stand up, and he's just like on his knees by the crease, not really able to do anything. So the Rangers basically have a 5-on-4, and they're getting some sustained pressure, but eventually are not able to score, and we get a face-off. But right off that face-off, the Devils get an interference call, so we're on the power play, 6 seconds left. The Devils argue it. They were upset about the call, but it doesn't really matter because Rangers are on the power play. And right off the face-off, Hayes shoots it and ZIBAN3JAD tips it to score with 2 seconds left and make it 2-1 to end the first period. And this was a great play by ZIBAN3JAD. He was wide open in net and just deflected the shot in. It was a rolling puck anyway, so it was a hard deflection. goes right between Kincaid's legs, and that was a great way to score to end the period. So start the second period, we got some shots going down either way. Lundqvist made a great save on Andy Green, and then Buchnevich came in with a good shot on Kincaid. One of the things I like Buchnevich's game, he was getting the puck, making shots, making things happen, and I really liked him. And I hopefully, this is enough to stay in the lineup. He got pushed up in the lineup and got more playing time as the game went on, and I hopefully he can move up the lineup and not be stuck on the fourth line with Cody McLeod, who's not very good. I'd like to see him on the line with Strome Hedl. I think would be a great line. Though one of the things, speaking of McLeod, one of the things he is good is getting big hits, which he does, and gets a big hit on one of the Devils. It looked like there was a bit of head contact, but the player kind of reached and ducked into it and got hit in the head. So there was no call there, but a good big hit, and he's really the only one He's really the only one on the Rangers who's driving that physical play. So he does play a role in this team. I'm not going to say there's no role, but I think having our most skilled guys go and play with him, I think is a bit of a waste. And I think they'd be better suited on upper lines. When Hedl was down there playing with him, I didn't agree with that. I think Hedl needs to be with better players and has developed great chemistry with Strome, who has that more offensive upside to his game. Speaking of Strome and Hedl, they had a good chance in the second period. They took it down 3-on-2, and Strome passed it to Hedl, who missed the net, but then Strome gets it back and makes a shot that's tipped by Hedl on Kincaid, but Kincaid makes the save, who I thought was playing pretty well this game. He was playing great last year and has had a rough time of it this year, but I think he played pretty well this game. He gave up 4 goals, but none of them I thought were too egregious. So later, Miles Wood from the Devils is driving hard to the net, makes contact with Lundqvist and called for goalie interference. Kind of a scary spot, when a guy's coming in with speed and hits the goalie. We also had happened with Hedl and Rask, where Rask got the concussion. And that was a pretty scary hit. On the replay, you could see that he did get pushed into Lundqvist and still got the goalie interference call, but the Rangers do head to the power play, where they get killed off, and the only 2 good chances came off ZIBAN3JAD's shots. After this, Kevin Rooney, a rookie for the Devils, comes in and shoots it glove side on Lundqvist, and Lundqvist comes up with a big windmill glove save. It was a great save, and you could see him, he was pretty disappointed not to be able to score there. Another funny connection that I have to Kevin Rooney is that we went to high school together. He was a few years up from me. We didn't really know each other, but so another interesting 2 players that I have weird sort of connections, I guess, to. Not really Kincaid, we just went to the same college, but Union's a school of only 2,500 people. So there's very few people who've gone to that college, though more in hockey because it's a good hockey school. The other one who went there is Shane Gostisbehere, also went to Union. Anyways, so fun little connection there. Cool to see him, a guy I went to high school with in the NHL. That's about it. After that, Coleman gets a penalty for hooking Brendan Smith, who was driving to the net, and as much as Brendan Smith was a guy, I think this was one of his better games. He took a few penalties, but, when he was driving to the net making offense, he was effective. And on the power play, Zuccarello passes it across to ZIBAN3JAD, who goes top shelf on Kincaid, and the Rangers tie it up 2-2. But unfortunately, with 30 seconds left in the period, the Rangers get a too many men on the ice penalty. They kill off the first 30 and start the third period on the penalty kill. So Devils start the third period on the power play, and Lundqvist makes a big save on Severson, which leads to Zuccarello then having a shorthanded chance that's stopped by Kincaid. This kills off the power play. Then with that line still on the ice, the Zuccarello, ZIBAN3JAD, Kreider line, which is by far the Rangers' best line. And they show it again here. Kincaid gives away the puck to Zuccarello, who then tries to throw it back on net, but it goes off Kincaid's foot and stays out. And that's kept in by ZIBAN3JAD, who passes it over to Zuccarello, who feeds it across to Kreider, goes 5-hole. Maybe that's one that Kincaid would have liked back. Just snuck through the 5-hole, and you could hear on the brackets going, "Fuck," afterwards. So he's definitely upset about that, but that puts the Rangers up 3-2. However, that doesn't last long because VC turns it over in the D zone to Hischier, who passes to Johansson, who then passes over to Yakovlev, who scores must have been less than a minute after the Rangers had taken the lead to tie it back up. I don't think we saw VC after that. He got kind of benched after that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's scratched for the game on Saturday against Tampa. Later in this period, the Rangers supposedly get 2 pretty egregious cross-checking calls that aren't called. First on Nemestikov and then on Pionk. 2 Devils just cross-check them into the boards on the same play, and the refs were right there and no call, which was, I thought, that's textbook cross-checking, and the guys didn't call it. So that was kind of upsetting. He's like, oh, it's tied up. We can go on the power play. And you don't get those calls. But sometimes in hockey, you're not going to get the calls. It sucks, but you move on. Later, the Rangers are putting pressure, and Zuccarello passes it to ZIBAN3JAD, who makes a ridiculous move. Just dekes out Kincaid. He's down the ice and just backhand roofs it top shelf for his hat trick and first hat trick as a Ranger for ZIBAN3JAD, who has played great this year. Definitely has been a first-line center this year. He's been having injury problems the past few years, and now that he's got a full season under his belt, he's really stepped into that first center role, and I think his emergence into that first-line center makes maybe trading away Hayes a little easier for the Rangers to do, having that first line center and young centers coming up through the system. So with a minute 22 left, the Devils pull Kincaid for the extra attacker to try to tie the game up, but Lundqvist comes up with a few big saves, and the Rangers hold off the Devils to win 4-3, powered by the ZIBAN3JAD hat trick and his first hat trick as a Ranger. I'm a huge ZIBAN3JAD fan. I'm really great to see this. It's always great to beat one of your rivals in New Jersey, and we're playing Tampa next, so that's going to be tough. They just came off a not great game against Pittsburgh, where there's that awkward McGuire-Kendall Coyne stuff. Funny enough, as well as going to high school with Kevin Rooney, also went to high school with Kendall Coyne. So there's that weird hockey connections where everyone sort of knows each other, and it's like, oh, damn, I remember watching her in high school. But yeah, I thought she did a great job, and Pierre was terrible and awkward, as always. But I do hope she gets another shot doing commentary for NBC. I think it's a noon game on Saturday against the Lightning. It's going to be a tough one. We're going to see a lot of familiar faces and old Rangers there, but you can see my reactions once that game's over after that one. That'll be it for this one. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment. I'm trying out this new camera. Hopefully it's better than the last one, but I'm still learning, and any advice you have would be great.